the lake too. Beautiful evening forecast, another front on the way that'll set off a few showers. The timing for that in the weekend forecast coming up.
Steve, thanks. Boynton Beach police say an argument between a husband and wife started with an argument over homeowners association complaints. And when it was over, police say he'd been wounded a number of times. She was wounded once, and now she is facing an attempted murder charge. News Channel 5's Alyssa Hyman joins us from Boynton Beach with more on this. Alyssa.
Well, Michael, this is the home where it all unfolded late last night. Late this afternoon, though, I spoke with the neighborhood's HOA president. He tells me Lisa had a reputation for creating tension in the neighborhood, even over the most minor violations.
I've been shot about 7 times.
All right, you've been shot. In this frantic 911 call, you can hear Eric Barreca tell dispatchers his wife, Lisa, just shot him.
I've gotten hit and my arms all over the place.
Okay, I need you to stay on the phone. Where is your wife with the gun?
The police report says the two were arguing over HOA complaints. And when things got heated, Eric said Lisa went into the garage and got her gun.
It's my wife. I smacked her and she shot me.
According to Aspen Glen's HOA president Damian Ferriola, the subject of the argument is no surprise.
Lisa has always been a huge stickler in the neighborhood as far as she wants the neighborhood to be like a utopia.
He told me Lisa, who used to be on the HOA board but quit, even now goes after neighbors for even the most minor violations.
Like over the past few days, she's been escalating her, like you could see that she was very unstable.
Ultimately, Ferriola wonders if all of this led to Monday night's violent altercation between the husband and wife. Lisa also had a gunshot wound, but it's not clear exactly how it happened. While Lisa told police she feared for her life, that's not how they saw it. Detectives have charged Lisa with attempted murder.
We always saw those little things that made you think, oh, maybe she's just a little not there, right? But you never really thought that she could take it to that extreme of levels.
And according to the police report, Lisa showed no remorse or emotion over her husband's injuries. And I learned that she's a registered nurse and didn't try to help. Reporting live in Boynton Beach tonight, Alyssa Hyman, WPTV News Channel 5.
For the second straight year, there were more than 30 shark bites off Florida waters. A University of Florida report said there were 31 unprovoked attacks last year. None of them was fatal. The attacks off Florida's coast made up about 1/3 of all recorded shark attacks worldwide. There are reports that basketball superstar Michael Jordan will be the owner of a private golf course in Hobe Sound. But tonight we have confirmed the South Florida Water Management District has cited developers of that course for polluting the water. News Channel 5's Alex Hagan with our story.
Well, district leaders say some of that sediment caused by the construction on that golf course made its way as far north as here to the South Fork of the St. Lucie River. And of course, for many folks around here, that's a big concern. Sometimes we debate the cause.
Sure seems like we can't get a break
when it comes to water woes in the St. Lucie River.
Now it's still very cloudy.
But Ed Stout at South River Outfitters says there's no debate as to what's been causing some of the murky brown water near his business lately.
Sediment continued. We realized that something else was going on.
Just south, construction on a private golf course in Hobe Sound caused runoff to flow into the South Fork, a golf course our news partners at the TC Palm say is owned by Michael Jordan. Just this past Friday, the South Florida Water Management District sent this letter to developers stating water quality standards may have been violated and to fix the issue.
What we've seen since that point is additional turbidity barriers, berms around the property.
Randy Smith says the turbid water may linger for a while.
If anything, it's just more of the way the water looks.
I spoke with a marine biologist who has concerns the sediment may harm aquatic life. Other environmentalists agree.
That silt and sediment can have a major impact along those banks and along the bottom habitat for those small fish.
As for Ed, he's more worried about the future.
If they had problems containing dirt in the future, are we going to have problems containing fertilizer and other things associated with the golf course?
Now, a district spokesperson told me they, of course, will continue to monitor this situation. In Martin County, Alex Hagan, WPTV News Channel 5.
It was another volatile day on Wall Street, but this time it ended on a better note, closing up more than 560 points, excuse me, making this one of the largest single-day point gains. The first day the Dow ended in positive territory after big drops on Friday and Monday. Today's upturn recovered about half of yesterday's 1,100-point plunge.
He is more than a magician. Coming up, the story of a man who tried to pull a fast one on the President of the United States.
Plus, he's made his mark in pizza, but he's done a lot more than that. We'll have his story.
This is News Channel 5 at 6. Thanks for making WPTV your #1 most trusted news source.
During this Black History Month, one man is working to make sure the legacy of an often forgotten group doesn't disappear into thin air.
News Channel 5's Jason Hackett here now with his story. Jason?
Well, Kelly and Michael, we've all heard of people like Houdini and David Copperfield, both of them very well known in the world of magic. But today I spoke to a man who wants you to add a few different faces to that list. Randy Shine has a trick or two up his sleeve.
1, 2, 3.
He's been practicing those tricks for 17 years after he saw fellow students performing card tricks in a cafeteria on his college campus.
It was just a hobby at the time. It was just something to do during study breaks and during the weekends. And I just never thought that I would end up becoming a professional magician, but life has a way of taking you on a different course.
Now he travels around the country and the world, performing at colleges and theaters, even once performing for President Barack Obama. Now he's a president himself of the International Association of Black Magical Artists.
African-American magicians, we are out there. We are. You may not see us, but we are out there performing in our communities, theaters, world stage.
In fact, Randy says African Americans hold a special place in the history of magic in America.
The very first American-born magician was a biracial man named Richard Potter, who was born in New England.
It's a fact that is often forgotten to history. But with every trick, he hopes that that thriving legacy of African-American magic will not be forgotten again.
Preserving that history so it could be passed down and it won't be lost.
Very, very cool. Randy will be performing at the Palm Beach State College Loxahatchee Groves campus tomorrow at 3:30. For more information on that event and all other events going on in our area during Black History Month, you can visit our website, WPTV.com. Jason Hackett, WPTV News Channel 5.
Wonderful story.
No matter how hard you stare at what they're doing, they get you every time.
I know, Jason was, we were doing the same thing out here.
Incredible talent.
Coming up, are the Olympic figure skating judges biased? We'll show you what an NBC News investigation has found.
Plus, he is one of the best-known pizza makers in our area, but for many, he's known for doing much more than flipping a pie.
Warm weather has returned across South Florida. There's another front on the way, though, but just how much does it cool us off? We'll talk about that and a look at the weekend coming up.
A new poll in the Florida race for governor giving an early indication of which candidates are best known, and it also shows most Floridians not committed to any of the candidates right now. When a sample of registered Democratic voters were asked who they would vote for if the election were held today, well, you see the numbers. 20% said former Congresswoman Gwen Graham. 17% picked Miami Beach Mayor Philip Levine. 10% chose Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum. 4% businessman Chris King out of Orlando. And a significant 49%, that was the winner. They said they're undecided. Registered Republicans, when asked who they would vote for, same conditions, election today, 27% said Agriculture Commissioner Adam Putnam. 23% chose North Florida Congressman Ron DeSantis, and 7% said House Speaker Richard Corcoran. 43% are undecided. Long time till November. A local state representative's plans to beef up the texting while driving law is closer to being approved, but it's meeting resistance from some other local legislators. According to our news partners at the Palm Beach Post, Representative Emily Schlossberg's legislation has been approved by committees in both the House and Senate. It would give law enforcement officers the power to pull drivers over for texting and driving as a first or primary offense. But some African-American legislators are worrying and warning it could lead to racial profiling. To read more, go to mypalmbeachpost.com/WPTV.
The Fort Pierce teenager severely burned in a New Year's Eve bonfire is improving. Lane Chesney's mother says her 14-year-old daughter is now speaking in full sentences and beginning physical therapy. She is grateful for the outpouring of support to help with mounting medical bills, including a fundraiser by a man who makes it his mission to help people in need. And News Channel 5's Tanya Rogers joins us with that part of the story. Tanya?
Well, I met Scott Van Duzer almost a decade ago when he was just getting started helping the hurting in St. Lucie County. In the last decade, he says he's helped dozens of families in crisis.
She was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was stage 4B.
Katie Alonzo says the family was in shock finding out Abby, their little girl, had cancer.
Van Duzer Foundation had a benefit here, and they raised $13,000 for our family.
Abby fought the cancer and is now in college. For the past 10 years, the Van Duzer Foundation has helped 100 families, recently hosting a fundraiser for teen burn victim Lane Chesney, raising money and blood donations.
You know, just by donating 1 pint of blood, you have the capability of saving 3 lives.
People in the community know Van Duzer, but he also made national news when he bear hugged former President Barack Obama in 2012.
That was pretty cool, and yeah, that was pretty special.
Time or fame hasn't changed Van Duzer's mission. When I first met him 10 years ago, he told me then why he helps others.
I love my family and my friends, and you know, my mother taught me, you never know when you might need help. So we try to help as many people as we can.
Van Duzer says he will do his best to continue to help hurting families.
And it says a lot about, you know, the community and our volunteers, because you know, I'm thankful for them, because without them, we couldn't do what we do.
Now, Van Duzer worked at the pizza place when he was a teenager in 1983. Eventually, he bought the place and he started the foundation. Tanya Rogers, WPTV News Channel 5.
One of the great bright lights in our community. Well, down to just 2 more days till the start of the Winter Olympics. NBC's coverage right here on News Channel 5 exclusively begins Thursday evening. We'll have our Olympic Zone show at 7:30. Always a lot of fun. Join Kelly and me for that, followed by live coverage of skating and skiing from Pyeongchang beginning at 8.
And speaking of skating, it is one of the most anticipated and most watched competitions. It is also one of the sports most plagued by scandal. An NBC News investigation reveals the nationalistic bias by some judges has led to higher marks for their own country's athletes.
Do you think that we will be able to watch judging in real time in Pyeongchang and say, there's some bias there?
I think absolutely you will see the judges from the same country giving slightly higher marks to competitors for their country.
So what's different about figure skating judging that allows for this? Well, the answer and more on this exclusive investigation coming up tonight on NBC Nightly News.
Also a possible hitch tonight for Olympic organizers. More than 1,200 security guards who were set to work at the Winter Olympics are now in quarantine after 36 people showed symptoms of norovirus. Officials say those who were staying in the affected accommodation area have been asked to stay there, and that a clinical test will be administered to make sure the virus has not spread any further.
The Olympic torch relay is getting closer to Pyeongchang. Today, the torchbearers spiced things up a bit and carried the flame on a train in the northeast region of South Korea. There are 7,500 torchbearers participating in the relay. The torch will reach its final destination Friday at the Olympic Stadium, of course, for opening ceremonies. And here's a little trivia at your next dinner party. Who in this studio has carried the Olympic torch before? Not I, not Steve, this man in 1996, right?
Actually, well, it was a little bit later, 2002.
Salt Lake.
Salt Lake Olympics.
I'm thinking Atlanta was not.
I got to carry it in Miami, so
and got to keep it too.
I got to keep the torch, so brought that in.
I know,
it's a real honor.
It's heavy.
It is heavy. And I managed to crack the glass on it when I was putting it away last week. But my wife's very artful at putting it back together. So we're in good shape. It was a real highlight honor. Really
I think it's wonderful.
Brought it in the other day. Very cool. Yeah.
Surprising
how well made it is.
That's what I thought. I know.
It's pretty cool stuff. I'll bring it back into the Olympics.
Please do. Run around the newsroom. Steve,
well,
over to you now for weather.
Crazy glue for you, too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Here's a look at beautiful weather tonight. Temperatures are still very mild, mid-70s, low 70s, cooling off slowly. We haven't really changed much with our temperatures in the last couple of hours, and we'll fall into the 60s eventually, but it's going to be a few hours before that happens. Some high clouds coming in. Overnight, this is where we end up. It's almost 50s around Belle Glade, Pahokee, and it's almost 70 degrees along the coastline late overnight. So the temperature drop tonight won't be as dramatic as it was the last couple of nights. And tomorrow morning looks fantastic. Evening forecast, great. I don't think you're going to need a jacket or a sweater as you head out. There is a little bit of a breeze around, and that breeze stays up tomorrow too. So a small craft caution in effect for Palm Beach County. The models want to pick up on a few showers coming in tomorrow morning. There's a chance for that. I think our highest rain chance, though, and it's not much, but a little bit higher rain chance on Thursday ahead of our next front. But partly cloudy tomorrow, looking very nice, and temperatures near or above 80 in spots. We are seasonally warm. We should be around 74 to 76 for our highs. We are running about 5 degrees above normal, and there's no big cold fronts on the way. There's a weak front that comes in on Thursday night, and ahead of the front, some clouds and a few showers Thursday afternoon. It's a couple of days from now, but the cold air never makes it into our area. It just pretty much settles back to the west and the north, and it just kind of trickles in. We'll drop a couple of degrees, but that's about it. Our winds stay up tomorrow. It was breezy today, small craft caution for Palm Beach County, and we have seas about 3 to 5, even stronger winds offshore. So it's a little choppy and a moderate chop for the inland waters. And whenever you have a wind coming in off the ocean, rip current risk is around for Wednesday and Thursday too. Overnight 69, partly cloudy, low 60s inland though. We could see some 50s just north of Lake Okeechobee. 79 for the high tomorrow. Much like today, this is about where we got for our daytime highs today, and lots of sunshine. Some clouds coming in off and on, but rain-free for Wednesday, Thursday, afternoon and evening. I think we'll see a couple of stray showers, but no big rain. And look at the temperatures here. High 70s, low 80s, right into the middle of next week. I took a look at the long-range computer models, and there's no significant cold fronts for at least the next 2 weeks. So this warm weather pattern is going to be around a while. It's great for any outdoor activities, but I know some of us are still looking for maybe one more cold front before the season ends.